All this pollution contributes daily to the degradation of the forest, and Ayubia is under threat. Both visitors and local communities need to be aware of the harm the waste and pollution is causing. The lack of proper waste management makes the problems worse. All this waste pollutes the forest and harms animals and humans alike. If we don't change the way we treat the forest, there will soon be no sanctuary left. Nothing for the visitors to enjoy, nor for the mountain community.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, tune shumme, washmule, ohai, guzaimis, guten morgen, hola, boyor, privyet, kaifahal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wa salam, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabiab, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching World this morning alongside Shahzad Khan on a very sunny, but a very fine morning over here in Islamabad, ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday. But for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that everybody is doing perfectly fine. Everybody's doing fine in life. You know, everybody's healthy, everybody's wealthy as well. And I think, you know, to start your day with a prayer actually gives you confidence and, you know, revitalizes your faith in Allah and in God as well. So for, you know, for all of those people out there, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to each and every one of you. And I hope the very best for you in life as well. And at the same time, I definitely hope that, you know, everybody is striving to achieve excellence in their life, because I think it's very important. But ladies and gentlemen, today, you know, a very different thing happened to me, and it kind of made me smile early in the morning, and I kind of just kept on thinking about the same event which took place. So as soon as I got out of my house, you know, I was on my way towards work. You know, the seat belt beep was beeping, and, you know, it kind of kept on reminding me that you really need to wear the seat belt. Unfortunately, I didn't wear my seat belt. It was because of the fact that I was wearing my suit, and I do not want my iron to, you know, kind of go haywire as well. So what I did was I was like, okay, you know, the beep's actually going to go off in a while, so I just will continue to drive. And that's what I was doing. So, you know, as soon as, you know, I came onto the Magla Road, so there's the Islamabad Traffic Police, very kind people, and I think that they, Islamabad Traffic Police today, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why I actually smiled early in the morning. So as soon as I was about to take a left turn onto the Magla Road, I could see that there are traffic wardens standing over there as well. So all of a sudden, you know, I leaped towards my seat belt, you know, tried pulling it off as well. And then the traffic guy was just right over there, and he started smiling. And then I was like, okay, you know, he might stop me, he might not stop me, but then, you know, he kind of waved and he was like, just wear your seatbelt and, you know, you can go and just be safe. So I think that it gave me, I felt very funny at that particular point of time, and I was like, okay, you know, so there's this human psyche behind it. And that is that, you know, when for sure we know that, you know, okay, there's a problem which is coming ahead, and for whatever solutions we have for that, we will utilize it. But, you know, for all of those unforeseen problems, we do not utilize our instinct as well, because I knew that, you know, traffic wardens are going to be there. But unfortunately or fortunately, it did work out in my case as well. So thank you very much to that warden. I know that you're still out on the road, you're still working, but yeah, you made my day great. And for the rest of the way, I kept on wearing my seatbelts. Seatbelts are important, so if you're about to leave your place, make sure that you wear seatbelts. But now, other than that, coming back to the topic which we wanted to discuss today. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the previous government, we know that there was a lot of energy shortfall in Pakistan, and not just that, even if going back from there, even in the regime of People's Party, even in the regimes of PMLN, even though that I think I really need to be honest over here, that PMLN definitely did give in a lot of effort as well in terms of reducing the energy crisis. But not just that, ladies and gentlemen, since it's going to be summers very soon, and I think that this is a problem which emerges in summers as well, because a lot of people are using air conditioners, a lot of people are using appliances, and then the the industry, and so it's linked with pretty much every walk of life as well. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that now finally in 2020, under the regime of PTI and Mr. Imran Khan, we have finally come to a point where we are saying that there's no shortfall of energy in the country. Wow, what a fabulous thing to listen to early in the morning. And I think that's how everybody should feel too. But whenever we talk about energy crisis, ladies and gentlemen, I think that it is multifaceted. There are other dimensions to it as well. And world these days is moving to renewable energy resources as well. So for example, if we talk about that, I think it's going to be the solar panels as well, the windmills as well, so there are different concepts about renewable energy, and I think that everybody needs to introduce them. First of all, obviously, it's going to be cost effective. Second, it's reliable too as well. But other than that, so far over here in Pakistan, if we talk about energy, I think that we are generating our electricity or energy from hydel. Then there's 2% from nuclear as well, and so there are different plants. There's one more as well. But not just that, I think that we really need to continue to be on this level where there's no energy shortfall, because for the social economic development and for the economic development of the country, it is very important to have a lot of energy resources. And in the previous years, in the previous governments, we have seen that a lot of industrialists actually moved to Sri Lanka or Bangladesh so that they could actually continue with their business. So Pakistan actually faced the worst energy crisis over here, and I think everybody's witnessed that so far. Even if you're right in front of your television screens, you have gone through it as well. There was a time when there was no electricity in your house for 10 long hours or 15 long hours, or if it was Ramadan, I've been roaming around the streets because I have, because I couldn't manage it the way it should actually have been, and there was no comfort in our lives. So I think that the credit goes to the PTI government. There's no energy shortfall now, as of now, on their cards as well. Summers is about to come as well, but let's talk about it. Whether are we going to survive? Are we going to sustain where we are actually saying that there's no more energy crisis, or do you think that we still need to do a little more as well? So, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about that, the gentleman I have over here in the studio actually blew my mind away today in the morning, and it's because of the fact that he looks as young as me, or probably younger than me too as well, but he's actually been on very key posts as well, ladies and gentlemen. He's been CEO multiple times as well. He's been to Harvard, he's been to so many other different colleges to learn about the energy sector as well. He was one of the pioneers over here in Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen. Without any further ado, we have an energy expert and a development expert as well. He's none other than Mr. Amjad Ali Awan. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you?
Wa alaikum salam, Shahzad. How are you?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful to have you, and I love the energy early in the morning. It's great. So you've heard what I was telling people in my introduction. Do you think that there's any contradiction to that?
Thank you very much for bringing me here early in the morning, and especially in this quintessential topic of energy.
Yep.
First of all, I'll tell you that in common perception, the shortfall is all about the crisis.
Yep.
But the energy crisis has different dimensions.
Okay.
Actually, shortfall, what you call the load shedding, may be a sign or symptom of the actual crisis, but it does not constitute the actual crisis.
All right.
There are different dimensions as well. And sometimes I tell you that if there is no shortfall, that doesn't mean there is no crisis.
Okay.
Because demand must rise if you want to grow economically.
Yep.
But now coming towards the different dimensions of the crisis. Okay, from my point of view, expert's point of view, it's not shortfall, but the circular debt is the actual sign of the crisis.
Okay.
You see, in Pakistan right now, it's around current figure I'm telling, it's 1.7 trillion rupees.
Okay.
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
And we are not meeting it, and there are some targets that we have said, government set, but still we are far away.
Exactly.
How we are managing this crisis? Now we are managing through taking loans from the banks and through the issuing the Pakistan Sukuk bonds, or through the syndicated term finance schemes, as the government has done 200 million and 200 million. This is what the things are doing. But this is just like a cleaning the balance sheets, but actual crisis is there. Now there are different reasons which actually give rise to circular debt, but those reasons are still there because these are attached with the overall energy governance in the country.
And what are those reasons?
Different reasons are there. I'm coming towards that.
Okay.
Secondly, the situation of the losses. Now the last year's electricity losses, around, as far as I remember, 20 billion units were wasted.
Really?
And the improvement in terms of the discourse performance, 0.61, just 0.61%, and we are still staggering around 17 to 18% line losses. So this is another dimension of the crisis, as I mentioned, these are there. Coming towards the technology mix in the power generation side, if you ask authorities, there may be some figures that, okay, within the next 5 years or 6 years, we are going to achieve this mix of generation. How much coal, how much gas, how much hydro. But a sustainable mix that we had in 80s, when 60%, 65% energy was coming from the hydro resources, that is not achieved yet. So it's still too much required, and we don't have the right mix plan. If there is a plan, there is no guarantee that we are going to achieve within the next 5 to 6 years this ideal mix-up plan. Number 3. Then what about the strategic resources you have? I mean, the storage. We have only the petroleum storage of hardly 25 days.
That's it.
So how can you manage your energy security for long term? And energy security definition, meeting your existing demand and future demand without putting pressure on the economy.
Exactly.
And thirdly, while we are depending on gas and other fossil fuel resources, right now the primary energy supply is more than 60%, 64%. We are depending on the gas. But you must know that our own gas indigenous resources are depleting fast. By 2033, much quantum of the gas will be, I think, depleted. So now we have to diversify that demand, which is attached with the gas, to other resources. If that plan is not with us, then I think there is a direct threat to national security. So these are the other dimensions other than the shortfall. I don't think a shortfall is the only dimension of the crisis.
Okay, thank you very much for elaborating upon the situation in such a diverse and in such a politically correct manner as well. I think you did.
I tried.
I think you did a great job with that. But other than that, for a layman like me, or for a layman or person who's actually sitting right in front of a television screen, might not understand all of it. Now, let me ask you clearly: do we still have a shortfall of energy within the country, or we do not?
Okay, tell me. Let me tell you first of all that the installed capacity and a shortfall, I think in the right context of understanding a crisis in terms of the actual energy that we are supplying, because every source has a different capacity factor. On government costs, the growth in the power generation capacity has been just gigantic, because in 2014, we were staggering around 23,000 megawatt. Right now, we surpassed 33 gigawatt. That means 45% growth. The growth is almost there. But how much these plants are supplying and how much demand is there? You had to be very careful and very meticulous in assessing the demand in different sectors of economy. For example, the industry, the commercial side, the domestic side, and then you have to supply. You know very well, better than me, that during the energy crisis, when we were suffering for 4,500, 5,000 megawatt shortfall, at that time, much of the industry actually, they went down.
Exactly.
Because there was no electricity. So now, what to do with that industrial slump that we witnessed? Now, definitely they have to rise. So definitely you need more power. So emerging of demand is not a bad thing. It's a never-ending story. You always to meet your demand through supply. So if you want to grow, then demand and appetite must be in the market, especially in the industrial sector.
Exactly.
So no need to be complacent at all. Then we are okay.
Well, that's great. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you want to grow in your life, what you do is that you think about all of those resources you have with yourself and then try utilizing those resources. So Pakistan, everybody knows from the north to if you move down to Sindh, everybody knows that, the Pakistan is rich with resources. Why is it that we are not utilizing our own resources, or do you think that we do not have the right people or the right teams to put in that particular hard work where we will be utilizing our own resources for our own betterment?
We always take pride and take pleasure that we have that amount of resources that we have. And we have been kept listening that we have 1.8 billion tons of coal we have there. But if you are unable to harness these sources in time, then I think there's no problem with that. I mean, you have to harness.
But we've not been able to as a nation.
But the problem is this, let me tell you, in any sort of crisis that we assess in the energy sector, I believe that more than 60% is an institutional crisis.
Okay.
Because the institutions are there who are actually transforming that potential into concrete projects.
All right.
And definitely we depend on the foreign resources as well, investment as well, that must be channelized. So you must have a right policy bucket in your hand so that that investment be channelized. Problem is this with the institution entities in Pakistan, as we are quite good in managing day-to-day things, day-to-day energy supply, gas supply is there, electricity coming. But in terms but in terms of the slow-moving strategic faults, okay, how much your demand should rise? Because your demand, electricity demand, has a direct relationship with your economics as well.
Exactly.
So all these things must be managed in a strategic manner. You have to have a right planning in your mind, what kind of mix you need, how your demand is soaring, and at what level your industry will grow, and then how can you tackle that demand. These are the strategic things which are actually the gaps.
Exactly.
And our institutions must be more trained in terms of capacity building, that to manage the strategic issues and the planning size.
So let me ask you, are they trained enough or not?
There's too much required, I think.
Okay, so there's a lot of requirement, ladies and gentlemen. I think that everybody needs to be honest over here. And I think that, you know, Amjad Saab over here has very rightly mentioned that, you know, we really need to harness it, you know, in time. If we're not going to harness it in time, obviously we're going to lose time, then we're going to lose those resources as well. But so very quickly, I think that there's another question where, since you mentioned about circular debt as well. These days, the per unit prices has risen and drastically. You know, not just in the industrial sector, but, you know, in the commercial sector as well, or probably, you know, in the household sector as well. How do you think that, you know, even if we are increasing the capacity of generating energy, but why are we, you know, increasing our capacity at the cost of, you know, somebody else paying the bill a little more higher than what they used to pay? Don't you think that we have got an efficient way to probably produce more energy where people can pay lesser money for more energy consumption?
Shahzad, I think it's a good question. I told you already that there are different reasons. If you repeat your question again.
Yeah, exactly. So the only question I'm asking over here is that we have seen drastic rise.
Yes. I mentioned about the different dimensions of the energy crisis, and one of the key dimensions is the price instability, that you don't know that after 2 months and 3 months, what will be the basket price tariff will be there.
Exactly.
So I think there are a number of ways you can manage this.
All right.
You have expensive power plants that you are managing right now, and maybe the tariff, as far as I know, maybe surpasses 20 cents.
Yep.
22 cents. These are the old RFO-based plants where your resources, actually importing resources from elsewhere. So how to manage this? You have to substitute those plants with the cheaper sources of energy that you have.
Yep.
Right now, the cheapest tariff, the lowest tariff right now we have is about the renewables, the solar and wind. The last tariff determined by NEPA was around 5 cents, below 5 cents in wind and solar. So you pick the right cheaper source and try your best not only to manage your demand, but also to replace these old plants with the cheaper sources of energy. And one thing you must have in your mind that whatever the energy security I mentioned, you have to try your best to create an indigenous energy economy in the country. I mean, your reliance must be more on your own local resources, whether the coal, whether gas or your hydro or renewables. This is the best way that I think you will lower your dependence on the imports, and you will save you much money. And that's the linkage that I would like to highlight between the energy security and your economic security.
Yeah, well, that's great too as well, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's a common myth. People keep on talking about it as well, and I think that today we really need to get an answer there. And that is that, you know, Pakistan, everybody knows, has got the largest reserves in terms of coal. But when it comes to energy production with coal, I think that we have to import a lot of coal from outside the country as well. So for a country who is rich in coal reserves, importing coal to produce more energy. So how does it, it's not very relevant for a layman to understand, because for us coal is coal. We don't know whether it's brown coal or black coal.
You know, we are already quite late because these resources were actually identified in the 80s.
Okay.
We are in 2019. Now the first project is still to come.
Yeah.
So that means we could not transform our resources into concrete projects.
Yeah.
And definitely the blame set for the entities and organizations responsible for that, because that should have been done much before.
Exactly.
And you know, the coal is the area. Now there is an energy transition in the world, and now people and the countries are shifting from the fossil fuels like coal to renewables.
Yeah.
So now, and definitely the question of climate change is very much there. And there's a Paris Agreement we have seen that we have committed already. So shift from coal to the resources there. So definitely Pakistan is under pressure right now.
All right.
In terms of harnessing its coal resources, although it's 1.8 billion tons there. So we had to be very quick. I think in order to manage our energy security, a certain quantum of coal must be explored and must be exploited at the earliest.
Okay.
So that there may be no pressure at international level to leave the coal and go for other resources.
Thank you very much for saying that. But yeah, I think that, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time that we talk about the other options as well. For example, renewable energy resources as well. So let's get into it. I mean, I've seen solar power plants as well. I've seen those windmills as well. I don't know whether they're very useful for Pakistan or not. But elsewhere, wherever you go, probably in England, you'll see those windmills as well. And they have their reservoir system to produce more energy. And I think that's how nations develop as well. Over here, I think that there's one more thing which I would want you to agree to me, and you can even disagree as well, and that is that for all of those politicians, who are actually responsible to make the decisions, they do not have that vision far beyond their own government or the survival of their own government. How do you think that we can instill this very thought process within their mindsets that, whenever you're in the office or you're taken over the office, you are the one who should actually think 30 years ahead, because in England these days they're making smart motorways. So that means that obviously, autopilot cars will be there too as well. That's how they're preparing, that's how they're developing. Why do you think that we always have a horse's eye view that, okay, this is what it is and today is the day and that's it. So if today is going to be fine, we'll see what's going to happen tomorrow. How do you think that these people will become visionaries so that the country is going to benefit from their decisions?
With your question, my one-word response will be path dependency.
Yeah.
We are very much entrapped with our inertia that we are working since many years the way, and we are missing the focus on the strategic things, as I mentioned. Renewables energy you mentioned, and I would like to clarify to our viewers that what are the renewable energy resources, why we call them renewables.
Yeah.
Renewable resources are indepletable, inexhaustible.
Okay.
These are the resources very much there, and these are replenished naturally, so it's with you. Yep. So you use it and it will not be exhausted.
Exactly.
That's the advantage with renewable energy right now. Now, the current footprint in Pakistan, you mentioned about the why institutions are not working, so I tell you one success story where I was a CEO in ADB to tell you. Right now, the installed capacity, when we started in 2015 and up to 2019, more than 85% of deployment was done in this period.
All right.
We started 264 megawatt, we ended with 1900 megawatt. So right now we cross 1 gigawatt of wind connected to national grid.
Wow.
And the surface of the solar is there, 430, 40 megawatt is there, and the dilapidated sector like the gas-based power generation. Now the current footprint is 259. The sugarcane industry is actually supplying you 259 megawatt. Installed capacity is there.
Wow.
So we are about to cross the 2 gigawatt. 1900 megawatt is installed capacity. Now we have solar maps.
Yep.
You can identify the potential in different locations of Pakistan. You have solar standards in place. You have resource mapping. You have wind resource mapping. And the most importantly, we convinced State Bank of Pakistan to issue concessionary financing for the renewables at 6% concession rate.
Okay.
That is there for all kind of projects, small projects and the big project as well. So this is actually a foundation that has been laid down for the renewable energy. Now you have to go for leapfrogging from here for a quantum jump. It's up to you. And I tell you that the potential, the raw potential in Pakistan, only the Jamshid area, the wind potential is 33,000 megawatt. We discovered 5-6 new wind corridors in Balochistan.
Wow.
In south of Quetta, Mach, Tudar, Panjgor, close to Iran border. Even the wind data and performance is much better than the Jampir and Gharo. So these are the raw potential that we have, and we have to go for the quantum jump. Why we are not going for that? It's our path dependency. One important thing I would like to highlight that we must improve our reporting from bottom to top, that what actually the situation is. For example, we show the rosy picture of everything is going fine. So we have to get out of this all is well syndrome.
Really?
Yeah.
No, but which is why, right at the beginning of the show, I asked you whether everything's fine or not. You said everything's fine.
When somebody say to you that in energy sector we are complacent, he's always wrong. Not even in the developed world, because this is a never-ending game. And this is attached with your growth of economy.
But no, but that's something which I'm worried about. Okay, today you're telling us that, there's no energy shortfall in the country.
Yeah.
What's going to happen after 5 more years? Do you think that we'll still be at a place where we'll be like, okay, we need more electricity, we need more gas, we need more...
Shahzad, when somebody is saying that, we are okay with that, this is no demand supply, that means he has resolved that we are not growing and we will not grow.
Yeah.
With the economy is growing around 2.5, 2.6% right now, you have to grow at higher rates.
Exactly.
So your economic growth is directly proportional with rise of your electricity demand or energy demand.
Well, that's great.
It's always a good thing that demand is there and you have to feed it. So you have all time be busy in exploiting, harnessing new resources. But for Pakistan, it's quite easy to develop energy, indigenous economy, because all the resources you have here, you have gas, you have to explore it and harness it.
Yeah.
You have wind in terms of the thousands of megawatts there, and solar from north to south. There may be variation of source, but you show the plate to the sun and you start generating electricity. We are so lucky.
Yeah.
We have geothermal resources. We had to map this further and harness this. So in terms of potential, there's a lot here. But we should not be complacent with this. We have to go for the quick fix.
Exactly. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, we should always be on the move too as well. But very quickly, 2 last things which I would want to ask, and that is that do you think that now the independent power producers have got a long way ahead to go, or to probably invest in the country itself as well? And not just that, you just mentioned about ADB and how you actually made sure that there was so much electricity being generated and then going back to the national grid too as well. So there was this one of my friends who actually told me that now when you install a plant and if there's if you're producing electricity in surplus, what you can do is you can give it back to the grid, and they can probably, your bills are going to go down because that electricity will be used by somebody else. First of all, is that correct?
Yes, and battery, it can be said, but one thing, as you mentioned, that nowadays we are too much hesitant about the word surplus.
Okay.
Now, you see, if our economy is growing at 2%, and we have much to achieve, then surplus electricity...
Well, it's just plus then.
It's your bank account actually.
Yeah.
You can divert this surplus. If you know that by the next 5 to 6 years, you will have surplus of 5,000, 6,000 megawatt, the boon from the heaven. I mean, you can divert it to some other areas, industrial development, other things as well. So we should not worry of this term, the surplus. Let it come and we will manage it. It's all about the management.
All right.
Okay. And one last thing is that our planning, energy planning, must have strong economic dimensions. And on the basis of pricing and economic sense, you have to go. You should not give a button to NTDC or National Transmission Dispatch Company that they will be telling you that now we need this kind of amount of energy, and stop further entry of energy because we don't have circuits or our circuits are not good.
Exactly.
So it should be from top to down. That we have to achieve these temporary target, and you have to create cushion for this. That's the way.
Exactly. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. It was wonderful to be in conversation with you, and a very enlightening conversation early in the morning. For somebody who was very far away from the energy sector, I think I've got a deeper understanding. But there's one more good news, ladies and gentlemen, that is that this summer around, I don't think that there'll be any energy shortfall. So I think everybody would be able to sleep in their air-conditioned rooms as well. If you feel like, even if you do not feel like, there's one thing which I would love to mention over here, and that is that, ladies and gentlemen, each and every one of us is actually responsible for the kind of energy we're using or utilizing. So please make sure that we do not waste, because I don't think that wasting is a good idea as well, but eventually it's going to be heavy on your pocket too as well. So please make sure that, even if you want to be in an air-conditioned room, use it at 26, because we had those campaigns back in the day when there was energy shortfall, AC 26 pe chalaye, Come on, man, give us sufficient energy and we'll do whatever we feel like doing as well. Is there anything you would want to say towards the end?
One last couple of things I would like to highlight. First of all, we have to make such energy policy where there should be a strong dimension of your diplomatic policy as well, because you are now going to engage with the energy trade in the region. So energy policy must have a strong diplomatic dimensions as well. And secondly, we had to focus on improving our energy governance in the country.
Exactly.
The entities
and the infrastructure as well, I guess.
No, I mean the institutional infrastructure that is there, because this is not based upon the permanence basis. Much of the things are in the clutches of the ad hocism, you see. So we have to create a strong institutional structure so that all these kind of things must be managed properly, just like circular debt, just like losses, in a proactive and futuristic way.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Sir Amjad Sahab, for being with us. Wonderful to be in conversation with you. Ladies and gentlemen, we definitely have to wrap up this segment, because in the next segment, we will still be talking about energy, but that energy comes from within. How how this gentleman actually managed to be where he is today is something which is going to be very interesting as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back because we are actually going to be talking about energy from within. Let's do that. Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for everybody who just got tuned into PT World. You watching World this morning alongside Shahzad Khan. Earlier, ladies and gentlemen, we were in conversation with Mr. Amjad Ali Awan, who is an expert on energy and development as well. But other than that, we were in conversation so that we could actually ask the current situation within the country because, yeah, for a longer period of time, we have gone through an energy crisis. And now I think everything looks beautiful because of the fact that there's no energy shortfall. That's what he said. But you know, there were other things to actually observe within that conversation. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, other than, you know, the country or the government actually helping us in producing more energy so that we can utilize more, there's this one amazing gentleman over here in the studios with us who's always made Pakistan proud. He's a doctor, and then he actually wanted to be in SSG as well. And then, you know, he started climbing, he became a mountaineer. And then he thought that, you know, no mountain can actually put his will down. So he went on to Mount Everest as well, where he actually lost the fingers of his hands. Not just that, you know, when he got back, he recovered from that. He went to Tanzania, then he went to Argentina, and he recently got done with the 6,200 meters high mountain as well, and that too in Argentina. Ladies and gentlemen, the name is a little difficult, so I'm actually going to read it out from here. Aconcagua. Well, yeah, so he just got back, you know, and he's one of those people, ladies and gentlemen, that you look up to and you're like, okay, you know, if Bhatti Saab can do it, I can do it too. But no, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, Bhatti Saab is one of those people who actually had this will and courage, and I think it's more than any other person over here on this planet as well. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, he's a celebrity for us. He's a hero for us. He's one of those people that everybody needs to know in Pakistan, that he's always made Pakistan proud, ladies and gentlemen. And one more thing. He's related to me too as well, so I'm very proud of that. Ladies and gentlemen, he's none other Mr. Jabbar Bhatti Saab. Hello sir, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam, I'm fine.
So let me start by congratulating.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and you just got back as well. How was it, and why Argentina in the first place, and then you even went to Tanzania, right?
You know, as you have already narrated that after going to Everest,
yeah.
I had a little problem, and before that I had been climbing. It was not new for me. I had been climbing for almost 4 decades now. After that, there was many thoughts among the people that now he's gone, he cannot climb, and like that.
Yeah.
But it was hard time. Sure, it was hard time after having that problem at that altitude. But as soon as I recovered, then this thing could not be stopped.
Yeah.
So,
No, but
now there was two options for me. After Everest, I wanted to climb. Immediately after that, I wanted to climb Nanga Parbat.
okay.
But because of the problem, I had to stop. And as soon as I recovered, there was two things: whether I should go for high mountains or I should complete another project. And this was this was a relatively simple and easier project to complete the 7 summits.
Yeah, all right. So congratulations on that too as well. But ladies and gentlemen, I love his optimism. I love the kind of positivity he brings to my life and everybody else's life as well. Because in an instance, I'm actually going to show you what he's calling recovery. Bhatti Saab, would you mind showing your hands into the camera as well so that we would let people know that this is recovery for him? So, he's got no fingers in one hand and, half of the fingers on the second one, and he says that I've recovered, alhamdulillah. And I think I love this optimism as well. So let's talk about the challenges you have faced just because of the fact that there was a part of you've left on Mount Everest, and you were in a difficult condition, you were in that situation as well, and recovering from that, and then going to Tanzania, then going to Argentina, completing the 7 summits. It takes a lot of courage, Bhatti Saab.
Yeah, apparently, as I have told already, people used to, there are different thoughts that now I cannot climb.
Yeah.
And I am off any adventure.
Yeah.
But alhamdulillah, I recovered and I am fully recovered. Only one thing I cannot do with this, and that is I cannot close my button of my right cup.
Yeah. I think the only thing you need to do is just put a Wilco on it. Yeah, that's it.
The only thing. Rest in climbing, I went to Tanzania for Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
Not a challenge, it was straight walk. And then I could go to Argentina for Concagua. This is quite high, 6,962 meters.
Yes.
But
almost 7,000.
It's almost 7,000. Too cold, it's challenging for normal people, but I felt no challenge over there.
Really? So I think you're even ready for Nanga Parbat now.
It was looking okay. And there, somebody was ready to climb with me, and because there, the local guide, he said, "I want to climb with you in Pakistan." I said, "Okay, you come," and he was for Nanga Parbat. And maybe this year.
You're planning on doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, and best of luck. All our prayers are with you. The entire country is with you, and for all of those people who are a part or member of the mountaineering community, everybody knows who Bhatti Saab is. That's something for sure. But let me bring you back to your home, where it's your wife, where it's your kids as well. Yeah. And every now and then when you're leaving for an expedition or whenever you're going mountaineering, they're like, Baba, please rahm karo thoda sa. Have mercy on yourself as well. You've been a mountaineer for the last 4 decades. Yeah. And that too on choice. You were a doctor, you were an armed officer, you went on to the SSG as well. And then, from there on, you never stopped. So, what was the first reaction when your wife got to know? Even though I know that you've just said it, that it was a straight road in Tanzania, but other than that, I think that, they do feel it, that, what if Bhatti Saab goes and never comes back? And there is this risk in these adventure sports as well.
First thing, for my wife, when I got married in 1992, the first shopping, I took him to butter shop. And asked her to select a shoe, outdoor shoe, for herself, because she was
because that's what we do.
To stay with me outside.
Yeah.
And during that, this was the early days, and I was gliding. We went to Ahmedabad, and there I told her.
No, but after the Mount Everest episode, she might have actually tried convincing you as well. Bhatti Saab, I think it's about time that you really need to be at home now. Just relax. You've done enough. No? Did you ever come across a situation where you actually have to be in an argument with your wife that, okay, I need to go?
No, not much argument. Every time I go out for an expedition and come back, and she said, okay, it's okay, you don't go next time. I'll not let you go next time. Yeah. But she never stops me because she knows that this is my passion, and I'm sure she cannot stop me like that.
Yeah.
Although she doesn't like.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
he just does not have any control over you.
To remain happy.
And he is happy like that. And it feels so great, you know, for somebody. Because ladies and gentlemen, let me be very honest. You know, whenever I'm at the gym, you know, I find cardio very boring, you know, running on the treadmill for like 20 minutes. I just cannot do it. But for somebody like you who's given his life to climbing, mountaineering, adventure sports, how do you feel when you think that, okay, I won't be doing it anymore, God forbid. I mean, our prayers are with you. But kabhi agar aisa lage कि यार अब मैं नहीं करना चाहूँगा. I mean, there needs to be an age for retirement, right? So, what have you thought?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
Because many times relatives, some friends, they used to tell me that, stop it. Give time to family, and you have done enough.
Yeah.
But I feel in a different way. I always tell them, if you want that I should die before my natural death. Okay.
No, but for somebody who's out there asking for natural death, I think that this is very disturbing, honestly. But you know, Allah Pak aapko hamesha sehat de, apne hifz-e-maan mein rakhe, and we want you to be at ease and be at peace as well. But very quickly, let me ask you, what are your future goals now? Because you've achieved so much. You were the 4th Pakistani to be on the Mount Everest. You know, in 2020, you went to South America, you know, Argentina, Tanzania, and you know, the list just goes on. It is even harder for me to remember all of those summits you've been to. But what are you planning for the future?
Yeah, the current goal I'm working on, that is 7 Summits project.
All right.
And out of that, I have done 3.
3.
Everest was the first, then Kilimanjaro, then Aconcagua. And this year, I have 2 mountains in my plan. Right. And 3 is also possibility. 3rd is also possibility for Naga Parbat. But the already planned about 7 summits. That is, I have to go to Russia for Elbrus, Mount Elbrus, and then by end of this year, I am planning for Mount Vincent. That is in Antarctica.
Yeah. So, sir, one personal question, that is that it is a very expensive sport. Yeah. You know, it's not a cheap sport. You know, you have to invest millions of rupees and you have to save millions of rupees to be able to do what you're doing. And you know, and with all of what you have done, I think that you've already spent crores of rupees on just mountaineering, where kids could have been like, Bhatti Saab, you know, you should have bought a car for us or a house for us. But even though whatever makes you happy. So how do you manage all of these finances as well? Because it does get a little difficult, no?
Yeah, I would say I have been lucky in this aspect. That before, when I started mountaineering, soon after I joined army, and that was the time when army started climbing high mountains.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough, I got the chance over there, and then there was a time then army said, you are too old and too to the some higher rank, and so you should not go anymore. They stopped me, in fact, in 1997. But that time I had already done paragliding.
Yeah.
So I focused more on paragliding, and as soon as I got the chance, as soon as I was out of army, I started climbing again, and that all the adventures are going. In fact, paragliding is going on. Also mountaineering is going on. So I restarted.
Wow.
And then the major problem was to get funding for Everest.
Wow.
And that, I must say, that was the first time in Pakistani history that the private sector helped me.
Wow. So do you want to take somebody's name? You can even take that.
Nobody has got funding. But at the same time, I had to spend for my own pocket also.
Exactly.
And I am very thankful to my wife also. She also sponsored me.
Well, that's great. And sir, we have a couple of your pictures as well. So you can even share the details behind these images as well. So please, can we take a look at these pictures? Yeah, where are you?
This is Aconcagua, the latest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't it get a little difficult knowing that, you know, there are no washrooms around you, that you won't be able to sleep in your own bed, it's going to be cold, you won't be able to take a shower?
Yeah. A couple of days you have to spend, maybe sometimes weeks you have to spend like that. But natural call is to be there, and here it was very different.
Yeah.
That you have to carry it down also.
All right. Yeah.
You have to keep it with you.
Exactly.
At the upper
because you're
camps,
not going to pollute.
and you have to bring it down to base camp and deposit there.
Exactly.
With there are people sitting there. They will note down that you have deposited your.
And that's great. Thank you very much for making us aware about that fact too as well. Thank you very much, Bhatti Saab. May you continue to make Pakistan proud, and may you continue to make your family proud as well. You know, it's always a pleasure to have you over here. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the heroes of Pakistan who really need to be celebrated every single day. There was one more thing I wanted to ask, but right now, ladies and gentlemen, I just need to head out because we're very short of time. Write to us on our Facebook page with the name of World This Morning. On Twitter, it's World This Morning without a G. On YouTube, it's PTV World. And please make sure that you catch the repeat at 11 p.m. tonight. Till the next day, 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Have a great day. Thank you.